Oh yeah, sexy biscuits. Nice.
Long boys blues, 1975. YouTubers on the rise, reviewing games late at night and sometimes friends used to bug. Long boys blues, 1975.
Welcome to another comparison video. In this video I'll be taking a look at Super Street Fighter 2, the new challenges on the SNES versus the Megadrive. Obviously it was released in the arcade in 1993, introduced 4 new characters. It was the non-turbo version and also the version that didn't have the rage bars and stuff like that, but it was ported initially to what most of us experienced it on. Most of us experienced all the Street Fighter games on first on the SNES and the Megadrive, and that's why I want to do comparisons of these two versions. I've got videos across the board on systems of Super Street Fighter 2 and all the Street Fighter games, whether it's the 3DO, the Saturn, the PlayStation, because it's, you know, one of my favourite games of all time, one of many people's favourite games of all time. But I thought it about time I try and do a comparison video on these two of the systems. As I said, most of us got to play it on. I'm playing this on my Retro Arcade Mini DXD HD device because, yeah, the aspect ratio is wrong, but it lets me have a 6-button pad on both of these ports. Otherwise, on the Mega Drive, we're playing it on my Mega Drive Mini, and only having a 3-button pad. Anyway, let's get into it. So yeah, you all know the history, the story and everything behind this. I really don't need to go into that, but I first played this on the Mega Drive, not my original Japanese Mega Drive, another Mega Drive with 2 6-button pads, a PAL Mega Drive unfortunately, but 6-button pads, may have been optimised at that point, I can't remember. And loved it, absolutely loved it. Never played it in the arcade. We'll go with Super Battle. It's kind of like Battles, but super. And yeah, me and my mates used to have tournaments on it and stuff like that, much like I did on the original Street Fighter 2 regular edition, the Blood Warrior Japanese one I had for my Super Famicom. Like, we had massive tournaments, night in and night out, during my college days. And absolutely loved it. Never played it on the SNES till many years later. In fact, that probably was the time I was around SNES-tastic's house and played it on his North American Super Nintendo, you know, the butt ugly square one with the lilac colours that look like those sweets we used to get as kids. But anyway, I need to start talking about the game. Do you know what? These pads aren't terrible. They're not brilliant, they're not terrible. Lovely, fantastic graphics. I'm assuming this is quite accurate emulation. Everything else on it runs quite well. Sound seems a bit muffled, but yeah. But yeah, really, really nice graphics, really defined, chunky. They look the parts. Obviously, you know, side by side to the arcade, they aren't much. However, oh, you bastard! I always thought he was the weakest of the new characters. I don't mean weak as in he's not very strong. I mean just design and stuff. You really need another sort of Zangief type character, if you know what I mean. Anyway. Yeah, but obviously if you played it next to the arcade, you'll see a massive difference. But for a machine like, you know, featuring as much stuff in the arcades as, you know, Super Street Fighter 2, this is an amazing port. Again, why I wanted to do this comparison video, because, you know, is the Mega Drive version that much of a step down? Both, not this version per se, because obviously previous versions with different speed and stuff like that, you know, and obviously World Warrior was initially an exclusive to the SNES and Super Famicom, became an in-box game and a system seller. My Japanese one cost me 75 quid in 1992. It was totally worth it though. Wonder what that is, adjusted for inflation. But, you know, each had strengths over the other, but these two versions, they are being compared because they are my favourite. Yeah, the sound's a bit off. I mean, this is a really good emulation device. It can do PlayStation 1 games and everything, but there's always something about the sound on these early systems that is the hardest thing to do, isn't it? Oh, I hate it when she hits you with a fried egg. Because let's be honest, that's what it looks like. Can't do. You know when I said the pad's not terrible? Yeah. Get a bit stressed, get some sweaty fingers going on, awkward, and then it becomes terrible. Oh, I won. I thought I was way down in that. Oh, it turns out it was my health that had a little bit yellow. Look at me, consummate professional. And also, I'll say it before and I'll say it again, Maybe they should have a higher certification, because there's clearly a bloke in the back choking his chicken. See that? Although, to be fair, the charm of these games is the background, whether it's static stuff or not. Oh, what's that kick? Is it not blood in this one? Is it vomit? Yeah. No, that looked a bit bloody. I don't know. I don't know. See ya. Right, well, I don't want this video to get massively long and massively out of hand, but yeah, this looks really, really, really nice. If it's not next to the arcade, as I was, you'll be more than happy with this back in the day. So let's jump to the Mega Drive version and see how that looks and compares. From what I can remember, the sprites are a lot smaller, and obviously the sample speech is shite. And the music is different. But, you know, let's jump in and have a look. So here we go with Super Street Fighter 2, the new challenges on the Sega Megadrive. That's an awesome screen. That's an awesome screen. I would say it looks slightly better on the SNES. Now, obviously this is the version I have the most experience with, but I am going to try and be objective. It's still a badass title screen, even by today's standards. But yeah, this was the biggest cartridge of the time, wasn't it, on both systems? Certainly the Mega Drive. I want to say 64, but I might be confusing it with something else. The title screen is a little bit more differently laid out when you go into game selection. I think this is speed, isn't it? But we're gonna, you know, since I went on the bog standard setting on that version, we're going to go on the bog standard setting in this version. Yeah, your options of the game types is set out differently. I don't know if it was different. Was this converted by Sega? I don't know. Never mind. But yeah, the music is going to be an interesting one to listen to, but as I said, it's the sound, the speech, which is going to be like there, because they had to cram so much on the cartridge, and I think they got all the speech in it, which they didn't in previous versions of these games, but they used such small samples, so the speech, which didn't sound fantastic on the SNES, sounds awful on this. I can say that, but that's part of its charm, because I have such nostalgia for it from playing it back in the day. This is the Japanese version. I thought you should see that. This is the Japanese version. Right, we'll skip that. So anyway, we'll do 2 fights and then I will round up. But yeah, doing these 2 versions of the game, because I've done so many comparisons to Street Fighter games, is the one I want to do the most. I have technically attempted it before at the start of the Koof hitting, and I kept getting deleted immediately off YouTube. I don't know why I'm telling you this, with a red marker saying you violate your terms of our terms and conditions, and your video has been removed. This may be because algorithms, and obviously we have less people because of the whole situation. That's what they actually said. And so I re-recorded it again in a different manner, and it got taken down again. So because I really wanted it up, that's what she said, I'm doing it again. Plus also it's Street Fighter. I need this comparison. Now, Ken's my favourite fighter, but I'm just going with Ryu for the purpose of this comparison video. But when they introduced Ken's Flaming Dragon Punch, I was just like, oh, this is just something else. This is fantastic. I mean, Ryu's Flaming Fireball, that was going to happen, wasn't it? Trying that on the pad. It's kind of cool. Well, it's well cool, but I just like, just something about dragon punching someone and set them on fire. It's just, oh no, I'm supposed to do this. No, this. Oh, bollocks. Yeah, it's just awesome. I just love it. Right, smash the barrel. Oh, something I should have checked, but then obviously we're not necessarily getting the same stages. But obviously, check them out when they throw up for blood and stuff like that. But on this stage, the bloke on the far left of the boat, is he in this version or is he censored? Might be censored, or it might be a different stage. He's affectionately known as Wanking Man, and what they did with it was, because obviously the SNES was censored because it's a more family system when Nintendo wanted to, you know, market it that way. So they did things like in Mortal Kombat, no blood, it was sweat, nasty. And yeah, they took out stuff like, he wasn't clearly masturbating unless it was some sort of injured by Capcom, which it was. Well done, sirs. Well done. He beat me, you bastard. But yeah, they just whipped his arm out and put it the other way. So he was no longer looking like he was having a crafty hand sandwich. It was more like someone had snapped his arm off at the wrist and it was just flopping around wildly. Why didn't they just remove the character in its entirety? Or maybe they have. Or maybe they have in this version. Maybe you should get a white stick. Or maybe that's because I'm talking about previous versions, but never mind. Anyway, I want to say that the graphics are, I lost, but we're still going to only do 2 fights. I want to say that the graphics I thought the sprites were bigger on the SNES. Now I'm not really so sure. I think they might be a little bit, but I think they're both perfectly fine, you know, detailed in comparison. Maybe they have taken out wanking Man, I don't know. Maybe I should get a white stick, but I'm starting, now we're getting towards the end of this. I can clearly see that, right, see right, there we go. Oh, I took the time to do that and you jumped it. There's more graphical finesse, I should say, not finesse, on the SNES version, but it's not as far out the front as you might think it would be. I mean, I personally don't think that there was that much. Correct me if I'm wrong. That much of a power divide between the two machines. Anyway, I mean, this had a faster processor that had, you know, extra gubbins under the bonnet, or hood, if you will. No! I don't like it when he blocks me. I take all that time. Oh, shizen balls. You know, I shouldn't say this out loud, Ken. Nothing's from stopping you from chucking in, you know, the odd dragon. Oh, there you go. Fireball. Oh, get some of this in your life. Game over. Oh, I wanted to do a dragon punch. Do you know what, right? It's splitting hairs. They both the thing that's perfect about both these versions is they both play absolutely superbly and do fantastic recreations ports of the arcade. You know, hardware that's infinitely way more powerful. But I would say that this, and it pains me because I'm a Megadrive, you know, fanboy at heart, and it's my second favourite system of all time after the ZX Spectrum. But the SNES just pips it for me, and not because of the sound and stuff like that. I think there is, you know, an edge to the graphics and stuff like that. Whether you can argue on playing it on the right system to do that comparison is, you know, I'll dig it for another time, I guess, about that system. But yeah, pains me to say it, they're both absolutely superb versions in their own right, but yeah, SNES by a whisker. Anyway, your mileage might vary, and I'd love to know what you think, particularly in which version you grew up with, and did you get to play the other versions, and which one ultimately do you think is the better looking, better sounding, and better playing, and better overall, I would say. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later.